Hello out there, Facebook world. Super excited. As you can tell, we've got some new faces on this Monday. I've got Kayla and Megan, my regulars, and we got Sophie and Lisa on today. And we help women win in life one healthy habit at a time. And so today we're here talking about mindset. We have something really fun planned, a little activity for you to do with us. So as you hop on, make sure to say hello, tell us where you're watching from and what time it is when you're catching this. So whether you're catching it live or the replay. And if you haven't already, you got to get StreamYard. You got to give StreamYard access to see your name. Otherwise, when you pop up, it'll just say Facebook user. And we're super grateful for all the engagements, but we'd love to know who you really are. We can go back and look at it on our Facebook pages, but it's nice to see it live time. So I'm excited. Today we're going to talk about mindset and the words that we say. So who's got some thoughts on this that they want to start out with?
I will. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So I took down a few notes here too, just so I kind of stay on track. But this one's like really good for me. If you're anything like me, I am a huge negative talker to myself. Like, it does not take much for me to get myself in that rabbit hole of my disbeliefs and that I can't do it and this and that. And so I read this article and it was basically, do you treat yourself like your best friend or your worst critic? Well, I'm my worst critic. I think a lot of us can relate to that. And as I was writing my notes down, I was thinking like, my best friend or just like even acquaintances and stuff, like I'm always asked like for my advice because I say what's on my heart, whether I think they're going to like it or not. And I'm like, why don't I do that to myself? Like, I should be talking to myself like I'm my best friend. And so I've been practicing this a lot and just telling myself, like, you look good today, girl. Like, stop in the mirror. Like, I usually don't do that. It's weird, but it makes you feel better. Or, after you choose to eat vegetables rather than big old potato or something, like you should be telling yourself like, way to go, like you got this, like be your best friend, give yourself that high five. It does so much. So that's, if you guys want to like go off of that, but that's where my notes started. And I think it's just so important to talk to yourself like you're your best friend.
Yeah, I'll just say like my biggest thing, and I say this all the time, like you feel what you focus on. And so whatever you're focusing on with yourself, that's what you're going to feel. And also what, your mind doesn't, whatever you plant in your mind will grow. So like if you're planting negativity in your mind and that's what you're focusing on, that is what will grow. And you'll continue to always see those things in you. And you can say what you want, but at the end of the day, you don't even realize the negative, like the impact that has, because even if you think you're not, your body will do what your mind is saying, even subconsciously. Like it will, like if you think you're going into something, all right, I'm going to do this, but in the back of your head, you're going, I'm never going to do this. I'm not going to win. I'm not going to whatever. I'm not going to improve. That's what will come out of it, And so it's like, grow, whatever you're going to feed is what's going to grow. So even if it feels weird because you're looking in the mirror and you're giving yourself affirmations, isn't it worth how you feel doing those things?
Sure.
And so it's just feed what you want to grow. I know I don't want to live in a life of negativity, and I'll be honest with you guys, I was one of those people. And this isn't to make my husband sound bad, because actually he is 100% right. Because I'd say like, oh, we're just not that lucky, or I'm just not that lucky, or I will never have that. And that was my attitude towards everything. He'd be like, oh, okay, negative Nelly. But at the end of the day, it was like, it really made me take a look at how I talked to myself and how I viewed things in my life. And it was like, it spurred these slow changes of feeding myself with self-development, positive mindset. Because I think naturally we all just want to do that. We all want to be negative. It's like our default setting. And if you're not, sorry, my dog is barking in the background. If you're not feeding what you want to grow, the positivity, that negativity will just be there. And I don't know about you guys, I don't want to live a negative life. I just
right.
don't. So
Can
I'm
I
gonna
say
go let my
something
dog
really
in.
quick? Okay. So kind of like what she was saying, I wrote down like all those like negative things you're saying to yourself, and I didn't realize this. It causes you to procrastinate. It causes feelings of failure. It causes that depression. And you're like, why do I feel like this? Why? Why me? And it's because of you. It's because of you why you feel that way. So
Well, and I think we need to normalize those affirmations.
for
You
sure.
know, I mean, why does it have to be weird if it's a normal thing?
For
You
sure.
know?
I think that's true though with the kids as well. Like with your kids, you're always like, you can do this, you got to think positive. And like, then as a person, it's hard when you have to do it yourself because then you speak down to yourself when you're telling them like, think positive. If you go out there and think you can hit the ball, you will. If you go out in gymnastics and you can do that skill. If you tell your brain you can do it, you can do it. But then you don't speak to yourself that way.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, and we were just listening to a YouTube broadcast. I think it was I think it was on YouTube, and she was saying that the way we talk to ourselves really matters, because if you're going to tell yourself, "Oh, if I eat this chocolate, it's just going to go straight to my thighs," your brain doesn't know the difference. So, speaking positively and speaking to yourself in a way that you would talk to your best friend, because you wouldn't look at your best friend and say, "Ooh, you fat," So, or you will never amount to anything, or anything, something like that. You would not talk to your best friend like that. So why do we talk to ourselves like that? We have to work on that.
Yeah. So Ashley wrote, yes, I need to talk to myself better. Who else feels this way? Drop a 1 in the comments. And, this whole kind of subject came up because I was teaching math last week at the junior high. And I've just chosen to teach at in the classrooms where the math students are really struggling because there's not a lot of certified math teachers. And so I just got in there, and I had the opportunity when the teacher was leaving. She's like, well, I'll just have you do this worksheet because I'm sure you don't know math. And I'm like, actually, I do know math. So if you want me to teach this, I'll teach it. And she's like, oh, that would be amazing. And so the class walks in, and I could immediately tell that math is not their favorite. Okay. I don't know do any of you guys like math is your favorite? Like most people, math is not their favorite. And so everybody's coming into this math classroom with already a bad attitude. And I just like to gauge my classroom before I get into it. And so I was like, raise your hand if you love math. And there was one person in the front row center. Okay. That's where we sit, us math nerds, front row and center. One person was like, I love math. And everybody else was like, yeah, she's the only one. We hate it. And so I just kind of prefaced the class, and I was like, listen, you can choose to continue to hate it, but the truth is you have to be here. But I would hope that you would be open-minded and that you would leave here smarter than when you came in. And this is completely your choice based on your attitude. And, kids were just saying in there, like, I suck at math. I've never been able to understand it. I can't do this. It's too hard. And they were saying these things like the whole time. And I said, listen, you can understand this. You are smart in a lot of things. You, you are good at math, and just telling them these things. And the kids that were willing to accept it and kind of change their attitude about it, by the end of it, they were like, oh my gosh, I actually get it, and then there were a few kids that were still sleeping and that were still grumpy or whatever. But I would say about 75% of the class left with smiles on their faces, left smarter than when they came in, because they chose to say different things. And I took down some notes. I have not really struggled with super negative self-talk with myself, but I think it's just because I've always had goals and always known that if I work for it, I can go for it. But one of my mantras, and I want you guys to drop this in the chat, is it's my theme song for my life. All I do is win. All I do is win, 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 no matter what. And I say that to myself almost every single day. And it was funny because, some of you guys were at conference with us, and what happened? I won, I won a Kindle. My husband, oh my gosh, he's won 2 Harley Davidsons. Okay. Yes, my husband's won 2 Harley Davidsons by just entering random raffles at work and, down in Utah. And he won a kid's bow. our family, all we do is win. And even my little sister, I went to her house yesterday and she was like, I need you to enter this drawing so that we can win this. And I'm like, okay, you know, because they know. And it's literally because that's what we tell ourselves. And that's the energy that we're putting out there. And it's as simple as just changing what you say to yourself. So do any of you guys have any examples where maybe you were saying something negative and what you changed it to, in case if that could help somebody?
I do. Oh, I'm sorry, Lisa.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I all my life, I've grown up, people have always told me that you're beautiful, and I'm like, no, I'm not. And I compare myself with other people, and I was not seeing the beauty in me. But over the past, maybe say 3 years, I've changed what I say, because before I couldn't look in the mirror. I look in the mirror and I just get disgusted because I did not see beauty. But now I can look in the mirror, smile at myself, because I had to tell myself, you are beautiful. You are beautiful inside and out, because I couldn't see it at first. And now that I see it, I walk past the mirror like, hey, girl. And, doing things like that. And you feel so much better when you talk positive to yourself as opposed to negative, because it's stressful to talk to yourself negatively. But positively, I can look in the mirror now. I can tell myself that I'm beautiful, and I believe it.
I love it. Okay, everyone drop it in the chat. I am beautiful. All right, Lisa, tell us
go ahead, Lisa.
So what I was going to say, as far as like focusing your energy on something negative or something you don't know how to do. So I do ultrasound, and the scans that I love to do the most are the ones I struggled with the most in the beginning. So like we did carotids ultrasounds, and I used to be horrible at them because it was just something new. And I remember my teacher being like, come on, just stay on the vessel. You can do it. So I was so like afraid to mess it up that I focused more energy on it. And now, because I've done them so much, they're like one of my favorite things to do. So it's almost like if you put your energy to something that you don't like, or maybe you're not so great at, later on, it's like, it's easy to you because you gain the confidence and you kind of like learned to love it because you hated it so much, and it's kind of just like shifting your focus onto something you're not so good at, but later on, you can shift it to be something positive and something you enjoy doing. And I think that's the same with like any skill. Math. I mean, I still don't love math, and I don't know if that will ever happen for me, but I mean, it's like once you do a math skill and you actually like nail it and know what you're doing, you're like, this is easy. This is like a puzzle. It's like a riddle, like it's something fun that you're just trying to solve. But I still don't love it. But, I can.
What would be a good affirmation for people to say? Because I think that's a great tip, I think it's awesome that what you weren't good at now has become your favorite thing. So what would be a good affirmation, or what could somebody tell themselves?
You're capable to do hard things.
Yes. Let's drop that. I am capable of doing hard things. Put that in the chat, friends. All right, Megan, go ahead.
Oh, I don't, honestly, I'm probably something I was going to say off of Selfie. So it's really,
sorry.
Top of my head.
So one thing I keep thinking about is my online business. 2 years now, I'm like, I'm still here. I'm still doing my thing, but like, there's every day where I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I am not a people person. I can't talk to people. I'm not this, I'm not that. But when I'm like constantly like reading or listening to something positive, telling myself positive things, like I get excited to learn new things. I get excited to like keep pushing myself and telling myself I can do this. I am a business owner. Like I am a CEO of, my business. I can do this. I am this. Like I'm going to make all this happen. And that is just what kept on running through my head as you guys were talking. I'm like, what is a good example? And that's just what I was thinking of. And I look at this every day. My husband made this. I don't know if you can see it on camera. It says, I am confident in my strengths and abilities. And I say this every day, like right here in my office, like loud every day, probably multiple times a day, just because I need that extra reminder. And, you know, it's again, reminding myself that I am confident in my strengths and abilities.
All right. I love that. Drop that one in the chat. I am confident in my strengths and abilities.
Well, and I feel like this is also like Lisa said, these are things that you can use it towards every aspect, every goal, just life as a whole blanket. And even when you look at like eating healthier, you know, how many times do you eat something and you completely make yourself tell yourself all these terrible things like, oh, I just ruined everything, or oh my gosh, like Sophie said, oh, I'm gonna eat this, it's gonna go right to my thighs. You know, like when you start having a better conversation with yourself about, you know, like I don't look at like when I have a cookie, and I don't eat as many as I used to, but when I do have a cookie, I'm like, this is okay. This is okay for me to have a cookie. Like I don't beat myself up and batter myself because, and guess what? Tomorrow then I'm not binge eating cookies because I'm not like, oh, I've just ruined everything. I'm just going to go and whatever. Like, because it's how you view your situation and what you say to yourself. Because when you beat yourself up about it, I mean, how many of us have like, oh, we ate really good all week. And then maybe we had a cheat meal or whatever you want to label it. And then you're like, well, I just ruined everything. And then you give up all your work that you did. I mean,
that's the roller coaster. Y'all ever been on that roller coaster? It's a fun one.
Right, exactly. If you don't beat yourself up about it, I guarantee you the next day you're going to resume the way you normally do. For me, yep. I eat 80-20, 90-10, and it's like I eat pretty good, and we go out for pizza sometimes, and I enjoy it. And the next day I pick up where I know I should be.
Right.
And I look at it as like, this is fun. This is entertainment. I love it.
Compassion. We need to show ourselves more compassion. If we can show compassion towards other people, there is no dang reason why we can't have compassion for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Well, I think we gave everyone lots of good affirmations. Any other ones that you guys would throw out there that you say on a daily basis? I know for me, my word this year is disciplined. And, you know, a few weeks ago, we talked about taking action. And so ultimately, I know where I want to be. And so my word is discipline. So whenever I don't want to do something, I tell myself I am disciplined and I move and I take action. And that's really helped me with moving forward in my goals.
Well, and just to remember to show up as, you know, it's like you take the actions of who you're becoming, you know, like.
Show up as your best self every day. Yeah. It's not going to look the same as it was yesterday. It's not going to be the same tomorrow. Every day is different. Just do your best. Show up and just try your best.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
We're not perfect. We're all humans here. It may look like some of us like have this like, you know, white picket fence life, but it's not like that. We have definitely all started from start. And you know, it never stops. You just keep growing. You never get to a point and you're like, oh, okay, I just learned everything, all done. Like, nope, it's everyday work.
I want to, if it's okay, I'd love to give like a little bit of a assignment and see how many people can benefit from it. One thing I started doing, and it actually helped with anxiety, but it's just a good thing in general. We do exercises for our bodies, but we don't always do exercise for our brain. So either when you wake up in the morning or before you go to bed, get out a piece of paper and write down 5 to 10 things that you're grateful for. And try to find the little things, the little nuggets throughout the day, meaning like when my kid eats his dinner without complaining, or somebody moved over and let me in, you know, on the freeway because they weren't trying to cut me off. You know, look for those small nuggets. And if you write that down consistently, that is literally training your brain to find those positive things in your life. And because you will always find negativity, but if you can train your brain, you're going to naturally veer away from that and start seeing all the positive things in your life. You know, like it's a good way. And when you have a grateful mind, anxiety cannot coexist. So it's also a 2-part thing. Not only will it make your life more positive, but it'll also help combat anxiety. So
I love it. And that will lead us into our final thing. So for those of you who did this with me earlier, choose your other arm. Those of you who are watching live, put your phone down somewhere where you can see us. And what you want you to do is take your arm and put it out straight in front of you. Okay. And then I just want you to move it behind you as far back as it will go. So I might have to go over. Okay. Now everybody take note of where our arms are and take note of where your arm is. Okay, then we're going to move it back to the front. I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to visualize your arm moving a third further than what it moved before. And I want you to tell yourself that you are. Say, I'm flexible.
I'm flexible.
I'm flexible.
I'm strong.
I'm strong.
My tendons and ligaments are loose.
My tendons and ligaments are loose.
All right, and imagine it, and then keep your eyes shut and put your arm back as far as you can go now.
Oh my goodness.
And open it up. Isn't that crazy, right? Like mine, I think, was here, and that was like polling.
Like here.
This is my short shoulder. I'm doing good.
Oh my goodness.
Crazy, right? If you guys did that activity watching online, let us know if it worked for you. And we hope that you found some value here. Be sure that you follow us on all of our pages. Check out the links in our bios. We all have some different free resources and things that we like to give to help you guys win in life. So thanks for being here, you guys. Bye.